which makes everybody go, oh, this is, terrible, and we can't do anything about it because it already happened. But that's not true at all. By helping people recognize where that impact came from, they can make positive changes in their lives. They can understand how they got into certain personality traits that are stressful. They can recognize emotions that they have that have never been given a chance to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They can start putting boundaries around people or situations that are creating difficulties for them. We can empower people to set those boundaries in a strong way, all of which brings the stress level way down.
Mhm.
Absolutely changes people's lives, changes their relationships, changes their career choices, even. And that's one of the great things about doing this work. Not only do we alleviate people's physical pain, but we can change how they live their lives. And it's just a great thing to see as a physician.
Wow.
Wow.
So can you tell us, like, what are the three things we can do to make our lives less stressful?
Well, in my patients, I like to help people look into their past because that childhood stress issue is such a big factor for the people that are ill enough to find their way to my office, a specialist's office. Uh, did you go through anything that you would never want for a child of your own?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that, if you had to watch a child you care about go through it, as you did, would it make you sad or angry to see that? And when people look at it in that way, they can recognize more accurately just how significant the impact was. They can get a better sense of the reality of it. And when they do that, um, they can appreciate that, what, they came through and had to have heroic perseverance to make it through these experiences. And they can internalize that belief in themselves that they've done a remarkable thing. I make an analogy to, say, a toddler who's been parachuted into a dangerous jungle at that age and has somehow had to find their way out of it. Many of my patients, their early lives have been very much analogous to that. But if they can look at themselves in positive terms as somebody who deserves tremendous credit for having come through that, um, internally flipping their self image in that way leads to all kinds of other benefits. It enables people to feel and express emotions, for example. If they've got a lot of anger about what happened to them, or shame, or grief, or guilt, they can connect with those emotions. They can talk about them. They can write about them, and then they don't need to be expressed via the body. Other things that people can do for stress are simpler. One of them that I recommend frequently, just recommended it to a person yesterday, is carving out regular time every week for activity that has no purpose but your own joy.
Mm.
Many of my patients are the kinds of people that take care of the entire rest of their world. They're always fixing other people's problems, whether it's in their family or their workplace or their neighbors or social groups, but they have difficulty putting themselves on the list of people they take care of. And so they don't. They're on a treadmill that they never step off. Well, many of those people grew up in home situations where even as kids they were trying to solve problems. One of my patients tried to fix her father's alcoholism by hiding his liquor bottles, starting when she was in grade school.
Wow.
And of course, she failed. He would always find the bottles. He would drink. He would get drunk. He would lose his temper, and she would feel like a failure every time. And her self-esteem suffered long term. She just internalized this idea that she was not a very adequate human being, and carried that well into her adult years. But when people can reverse that, when they can see that through no fault of their own they got stuck in this difficult situation, they deserve tremendous credit for having made it through. That makes it easier to say, what, I deserve to take some time for myself. I deserve to carve out a block of time where I'm just going to explore. I'm going to do some trial and error. I'm going to find an activity that has no purpose but my own joy. And once people learn how to do that, turns out it's an essential human skill. And once they learn how to do that, it's a skill they will have for life. And whenever their stress level gets too high, they can now have something that they can do that will bring the stress level